We come to this place for magic.
We come
The
to
Last Will
AMC
Podcast.
theaters to laugh, to cry, to care, because we need that. All of us.
That indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim and we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn. Together.
Dazzling images on a huge silver screen. Sound that I can feel.
Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our heroes feel like the best parts of us, and stories feel perfect and powerful. Because here, they are.
The Last Will Podcast.
We make movies better.
Podcast. Thank you for listening to The Last Will Podcast. I'm Matt Young. I'm a theater educator and a parent. And ever since I lost my father to cancer, I have been mildly obsessed with death. This is my last will and testament. Lin-Manuel Miranda once said, "Real strength is the capacity to be compassionate towards yourself and others." This week, our topic, masculinity. This week, I'm joined by Patrick Duffy, and we have a really interesting conversation about masculinity, politics, and toxic masculinity. Trigger warning, though, we do have some discussion of suicide. So if that triggers you in any way, I'm going to say avoid this episode. And if you don't like politics in your podcast, I would recommend that you still listen to this because sometimes some things need to be said. And in diving into the idea of masculinity, it was hard to avoid politics in this country at the moment. So I hope you enjoy our episode on masculinity. Patrick and I dive pretty deep inside. So enjoy. Right. Is this working? Hello. Just checking the levels. That's what we do at the beginning of a podcast. Check the levels.
Here we go. I forget how close or far away I'm supposed to be from this thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah?
that's good, but I can give you a little bit of gain, get you a little more there.
Can you add a little growl?
You don't need growl. You've got growl in your voice anyways. People, if you haven't noticed already, that is not the voice of Claire Kenny, and that is not the voice of Grady Dennis. This is our old friend. He's back for more punishment. It's Patrick Duffy.
I'm a glutton for punishment, after all.
He's a glutton. So Patrick and I are here on this lovely Sunday morning, just chatting. Normally we chat for like an hour and then start. We chatted for an hour and a half.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we did.
Man, we do get lost in that, don't we?
Let me correct, because you came 15 minutes after what we had said, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. I'm not saying that to bust your stones. But I
You're
did,
shaming me.
I wasn't
shaming.
I was just doing the math.
Okay.
Math for me is very, very
And I did
difficult.
text you to say I was 15 minutes late.
So, and you didn't come 15 minutes late, but we did over an hour, for sure.
Yes, we
over
do.
an hour and 15
Yes,
minutes.
we do.
Yeah. We talked about everything under the sun, and so we have nothing for you. So thank you for listening to the Last Will Podcast. Thank you, Patrick, for coming in.
It was really great to be here.
Yes. No, we've decided that we're going to do a topic that seems to make the most sense and something that I struggle with, but also is a really important thing for the boys to hear about. And that's really why I've done this podcast. And sometimes it gets a little away from this idea because I want to talk about everything. But the thing that we haven't talked about, but the thing that two boys need to explore. Is that the right word?
I think so, because really we're just two boys exploring.
That's true. Make it sound so dirty.
Hello.
Hey. So this is the idea of, I want to talk about the idea of masculinity. Masculinity. Not toxic masculinity, although that may come up. But we want to talk about just masculinity in general. And so we're going to start off with the definition, because that's what we do.
I can't wait to hear this one.
We do definitions.
As usual.
Okay. Masculinity refers to the set of roles, behaviors, attributes, and norms that society traditionally associates with being male or masculine. It is a social and cultural construct that can vary across cultures and historic periods, and it is not fixed or universal. Key aspects are cultural expectations, biological versus social, spectrum, evolution over time. And some of the common themes are traditional masculinity, like physical strength, independence, decisiveness, emotional restraint, or even modern and inclusive, which is emotional intimacy and empathy and collaboration, responsibility, respect, and the diverse expression of strength. Toxic masculinity, healthy masculinity, gender norms, all of that stuff I'm sure that we will cover.
Wow. How much to chew on there.
Right?
Let's set the guideline now that this will not be about bashing society or cultural norms.
Right.
Or that which we may believe society thrusts upon us.
Right. I mean, Patrick may not take shots, but Matthew probably will.
Oh, I'll probably take shots.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the top, right? It's basically saying that it's not. It's kind of saying that it's not real, that it's like cultural, that it's like it's this made up thing that doesn't really exist. It's just a way for us to label it, like maybe time. Time exists, but it's really just a label. So masculinity exists, but it's just a label.
I agree with that, and what really fascinates me is that that definition in the beginning.
Want me to read it again?
No, I'm trying to form my words, which just isn't happening so well. Is that it immediately paints a man searching for masculinity to look outside as to what those around him, society and culture, are dictating to him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
I don't think that that's wrong. I think a lot of what we understand it to be is from the outside.
Yes.
Like there's an equivalency to being maternal. I guess masculinity and maternal are in balance. No, you're making a face. So maybe not.
Paternal and maternal.
Because like I think of society saying to a woman, you should be married at this point.
Yes.
And you should have a child at this point.
Yes.
And all of these setting a timetable that doesn't really have to do with anything.
Yes.
And so masculinity feels like it's mirroring that on the other side, but it's just saying like these are your expectations for what you should be in order to be masculine or in order to be male.
I entirely agree with you, and you said it much better than I ever could have.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So yeah, we have this expectation from the get-go. It's different now than it was when you and I were growing up in the last century.
Mm-hmm.
I said that as a joke, but it's true. We did grow up in the last century.
Oh, yeah.
But like there was this idea of the man got the job, the man provided food. I mean, very parallel to like caveman days, but like in a modern society.
Yes.
The man protects you.
Yes.
Women and children first.
Yes.
All of this stuff. These expectations.
All of which are ancient beliefs and multicultural beliefs.
Right. And also, like, I would say more than just an expectation from society, there's something in our DNA that says we're hunter-gatherers or we're whatever the opposite of that is.
Well, hunters or gatherers.
Oh, okay. You can't gather and hunt at the same time?
Well, I reckon that you can. Sorry, I'm imposing my own.
Do it.
Yeah. I believe that there are hunters and there are gatherers. It's and yes, one can be both.
But hunters are masculine and gatherers are
That
feminine?
has been the messages that I have gotten.
Yeah.
And yeah, the ones that I buy into.
Yeah. So how do you, because you have some experience with communicating with groups of men.
Yes, I do.
How do you balance the idea of, for me, I think of masculinity not just as strength, but I feel like if you really want to show strength, you'll show vulnerability. But I don't think that that's the norm at all. So how do you What am I trying to say?
Well, okay.
want
Maybe this will answer
Okay.
some of it. Is a lot of my experience with a men's group is based on that, particularly in the last century, which we grew up in. Not that I feel old now. Boys were learning masculinity from women, from their mothers and their sisters, and their aunts and their grandmothers, because the men were working. And they were separated from the boys. There was no in ancient cultures there were initiations, and men were working side by side with boys and often teaching them what it was to be a man in that culture, in that tribe, in that society, and that was lost in the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
So the way that the weekend that we would spend together was really based on men who had been initiated within this group, passing on what it was that they had learned about being a man and masculinity to those who would come to seek it. Often questions were asked to help a man define what masculinity meant for him, and also to maybe open up some doors for a new way of being and what masculinity is, including the exploration of what it is not.
Why would somebody seek out this group? Like somebody who's looking, somebody who joins. What would be some of the reasons?
They may be stuck in an aspect of their life and they're struggling with one of those definitions that society has thrust upon us.
Okay.
Perhaps they're feeling the extreme burden of being a provider, and they believe that they are not, or actually not, providing in the way of earning money. Perhaps they're stuck because they can't find a fulfilling relationship with a partner, because they find that they're demanding too much of them, and people are running away from them, or maybe they're not. Maybe they feel like too much is being asked of them and they push other people away.
Okay.
Perhaps there was a tragedy that came into their lives, a death, loss of a job, an ending of a relationship. And he doesn't have the maturity to show the vulnerability and the hurt and the pain of the grief.
Okay.
That's most often what we had run into.
I get that.
Yeah.
I did a whole bunch of that for many years.
Oh, yeah.
Like I had a good 16 years, something like that. Like after my dad died, it was so difficult for me to show vulnerability with my mom or my sister.
Yeah.
Even though we're all going through the same thing, and even though we would handle it differently, we're still going through the same fucking thing. It really wasn't until my sister died that it kind of like I busted open. I didn't have any choice. I had to deal with my vulnerability because it was on the surface, and because of it, I'm where I am now. Not, I wouldn't say healthy, but like definitely vulnerability is at the forefront of everything that I do now. I had my own weekend by myself where I just split open. That's so interesting to me. So we run into in society, you've got to be a provider.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be muscular. You have to be able to protect
Mm-hmm.
all of these things, which by themselves aren't like awful places or, or things
and they're
to have
healthy.
healthy.
They are healthy,
Right. Like what can you contribute? Like you can't give birth. Although I was a stay-at-home dad, so I definitely contributed in terms of like childcare and stuff like
Yes.
that. I never felt demasculated because of that,
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that I had a skill that felt like most men couldn't handle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just when those traits become overwhelming, or they hurt other people. That's when it becomes toxic.
Sure.
Right? When it's everything. And
So I love that you brought up that example, because immediately, it can call into question what is a provider? Is the provider the one who goes hunting and brings the food home? Is the one is in today's parlance, that would be going out and being the breadwinner, earning the money to pay for everything. So who says that a provider is not one who nurtures? And specifically that word is equated much more often with a feminine trait of nurturing.
Right.
Whereas why is it a man may not be able to nurture in a very masculine way? Wait a minute, I'm going to back that up.
Okay.
Who says that someone who has strong masculinity also cannot have strong feminine qualities as well, such as nurturing, if
Right.
one wants to call that, and still maintain masculinity?
Right.
Which now suddenly my brain just snapped to the why can't one be a hunter and a gatherer?
Yeah, right. To me, I guess I always thought that they could be like when you left the camp or whatever, your village, you were hunting and gathering supplies and bringing them back.
Yes.
In my mind.
Yes.
But no, I also see what you were saying. I think of my father. My father had an abusive father. I think he was physically abusive, but that wasn't his dominant trait.
Mm-hmm.
His dominant trait was verbal abuse
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And it was nothing was ever good enough. And you could see very clearly that he was taking out his failures on my dad and his brother and stuff like that. And then my dad, instead of falling into that, just decided he was just going to be different. That he was going to go to every baseball game. He was going to go to every hockey game. That he was going to be, in his own way, both provider and nurturer,
Mm-hmm.
both, hunter and gatherer. And because of that, that's kind of like what opened up the world for me to not feel like I had to be either of those things. I don't know. Maybe it would have been hard if I wasn't into sports.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he supported my acting and stuff like that, but it was also foreign to him. Even though he's a car salesman, he's fucking acting every day of his life.
Every day.
Every day of his life he's performing. But it was foreign for him. He didn't know how to help as much as he knew how to help by buying hockey equipment or supporting a baseball team with funds and stuff like that and showing up. So I don't know if it would have been harder for him, but I felt the opportunity for me to explore, at least on stage, my vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So I feel very lucky.
That my father, God love him, he never knew his dad. His father died when he was, I think, 2 or 3 years old. So one of his things when he came to America and starting a family was he was very afraid of being a poor father because he didn't have one himself.
Yeah. And
one thing that I can see that my father taught me that I didn't really embrace for a while is going back to vulnerability, is being able to express emotion. My father was a weepy Irish guy.
Yeah.
And I'm a weepy Irish guy a good deal of the time. And there were times in my life where I felt shame around that. In fact, go the counter of that. My mother was taught to be very stoic.
Okay.
By her mother,
right,
after her father had died. So and something
she was from Ireland too, or
no? My mother was born here of Irish parents.
First generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm first generation because of my dad. And a lot of what I have heard over the years from men is, and this is something that some groups have been critical of men in general, is their inability to express emotion.
Right.
Whether it be in a mature way, a controlled way. I think it talks about controlling of emotions.
Yeah.
And that control of emotion seems as though it's often misconstrued with keeping emotions in check. I cannot show that I'm hurt. I cannot show that I'm sad. I'm in grief. Right. That I'm afraid. And so it becomes easy for a man in particular to default to anger, to cover up all of those things. And masculinity can be mistaken for being angry and powerful, therefore harmful. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So something my dad showed me that it is okay to cry. I didn't embrace that for many years. that it is okay to be afraid,
Right.
and to share that. And again, I didn't learn that for many years. But the gift that you got from your dad around that nurturing, and the gift that I got from my father around the nurturing that I got in that way are exactly what I say they are. They're gifts, you know.
I totally agree. Look, I was like you too. I didn't know how to embrace it for a long time. I would push it away. I wouldn't let myself cry in front of somebody. I wouldn't share my vulnerability because I believed it was weakness, even though I wasn't like overtly masculine. Like I've never tried to, I was going to say, I never tried to bully anybody. That's a trait of masculinity, but like dominating and showing strength or whatever we consider to be stupid alpha bullshit. But I wouldn't let myself be vulnerable.
Sure.
It took a long time, even though I had this gift in my life. I think because of the gift, when I did crack open, then I just could accept it all.
Yeah.
For what it actually was, which was a show of strength.
Yes.
More than anything, being able to be vulnerable is a sign of strength. That's so interesting to me. As I raise my two boys, they see masculinity and toxic masculinity all over the place.
I'm sure.
They, have and live in, and this often happens together too, a culture that is celebrating athletics first and foremost, tends to put this idea of masculinity up front. And if you are not good, or you're not trying, and you're not strong, you're weak. And if you're weak, you're bad.
Yeah.
So they kind of live in this world where athletics is everything, and they're more into the arts and stuff like that. I don't know where they get that from, but they're really into the arts.
I have no idea where they get that from either.
So they're experiencing this. I don't think it. I think when they see it, they often are like, oh, that's bullshit, athletic culture and stuff like that. So I'm not sure that they feel it as a threat, but they may.
They may, sure.
Sure.
And
society
they may
buffs that
also
up too. Like,
they may also look at the boys who are deeply into athletics and the way that they act, and especially if they're teenagers. There's going to be the pushing to toxic or near toxic masculinity. It's like exploring the boundaries of it.
Right. What? Just to take a side path here, side path.
I don't know.
Off the. We're going to go Robert Frost on this.
Here we go.
How would you define toxic masculinity?
Oh,
that's a big path.
It is a big path.
I mean, for 21 minutes into this thing.
Yeah.
It's almost 22 minutes. So.
Yeah. So,
for me, I guess it's where you're feeling obligated to show strength in order to hold someone back or put someone down, or to mentally or physically hurt them by being somewhat dominant, and then celebrating that dominance as if it is celebratory. I know that's an awful sentence, but like we like celebrate the idea of dominance.
Yes. Yes. Dominance of man, there are a lot of dominance. Dominance in strength, dominance in really in believing of male dominance.
Right.
And forcing that upon others. Taking the messages that society may be dictating,
right,
and personalizing them, and then
also using feminine attributes as weakness.
Yes, and believing that a man having those is weak, and also that women are weak because of it.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
That those things that are feminine traits cannot exist in a man.
Right.
There's also dominance where men are constantly competing with one another, and then also preying upon those that they believe to be weak because they're continuously being dominated. There is the over control of emotions, therefore shutting down. So showing no emotion or being quick to anger.
Yeah. That's a huge part of it. Is there no nuance? You go straight to anger, which is the easiest of all emotions too.
An inability to take accountability
Yes.
for one's actions, and a complete blindness as to how one's actions impact those around them also are big traits of toxic masculinity.
So people just do the opposite of what we just said. There we go. Now we've defeated it. No, I think it's really interesting too. Like my work, right? I work in a school. You come to my school and you want to see a gender dominant over another gender. Let me tell you, the women in school are so much more advanced emotionally than the boys. I'm always, and I bring it right to the surface. You know, I work inner city, so like oftentimes there is that masculine, that toxic masculine. Like, look, I listen to my students talk all the time. It fucking blows my mind. It was like, oh, she hits me, I'm hitting her right back. I was like, you're not supposed to hit girls. That's part of like, you don't show because you could be stronger. You don't hit physically weaker people just because they hit you first.
Right.
Like you want to show strength, you
Right.
show restraint and stuff like that. But like it's really common. There are fights in my school where guys are going and beating up girls, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Where is this all coming from? Anyways, so I often in my class, I'm like, who's shutting up? Or like, who's listening to what's going on? Who can I trust out in the hallways to go do videotaping and stuff like that? It's the girls.
Yes.
And I'll often just talk to the girls and go, girls, we just have to wait for these boys to just calm down.
Yes.
You know, because they just can't keep calm. So if you want to see an advanced gender, you know, at the same age,
Yeah.
come to my work.
Yeah.
I'll show you the group of boys who can't shut the fuck up and are so easily moved to anger and righteousness and demanding of respect compared to the girls who are like listening, sometimes playing the game because they're kids.
Yeah.
You know, they want to get away with what they can get away with.
Yeah.
But know how to get stuff done. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
The minute you were saying all that stuff, I was like, oh, I'm thinking right now of a certain class that I have, right? That's so clear.
Throughout, that's been touched upon. I mean, throughout today. I mean, that's a big thing that we also did in our weekends was talking about emotional maturity and how that maturity comes on so much later for men, and in some cases may not come on.
Right, and we also know that that's like scientific. That's not just like
Oh,
data
yeah.
from people. Like the frontal lobe of a woman and a frontal of a 20-year-old, female and male, one is developed and the other one isn't.
Oh yeah, the other
You know?
is just whoa.
And sometimes
boy.
they can't even like. You know, I bag on them a lot, but sometimes they can't even control their impulses.
Sure.
You know,
And you know, I think part of that as well goes back to what I was talking about with the introduction of the weekends and how men and boys are more separated. So boys don't have that passing down from their fathers or their uncles, and societies that I know that they exist in the world where the boys are more developed than what they are in the Western world here. We may look upon them and say, oh, well, they're a pretty backwards culture, and yet their culture still works in terms of how people develop, you know, and they keep those traditions and those relationships within much stronger in that way.
yeah.
So, you know, especially when it comes to emotional maturity, on those weekends, there was a great deal of time and work that was done into really teaching what basic emotions are. You know, anger, joy, grief,
The inside outs.
the inside outs, so that the muddled stuff where you may ask a man how he's feeling and the answer may be frustrated,
Right.
and yet ask what that means and he may not be able to tell you what it means, yet it could be just a mix of of anger and fear. It could be a mix of fear and shame, all different sorts of things. And until really being able to parse that out and see them for what they are, one may not be able to really take responsibility for them.
Right.
And therein have mature control over their emotions to be able to recognize, oh, this is what I'm feeling. Why am I so angry? Am I really feeling anger? No, I'm really feeling fear because I feel like I'm losing this.
Isn't anger always a byproduct of something else?
Very
does
often.
anger ever just exist by itself?
Yeah, sure it does. And well, then there's how do I cope with, or how do I control my anger in a good and mature way,
Right.
rather than lashing out at others? Is maybe taking responsibility that I'm angry, and rather than blaming others around or society for making me angry. And rather than sitting in that anger or lashing out from that anger, is taking the anger and having some proper action. Do something about it.
Like what? Because I definitely have a lot more. I'm a big guy, right?
Yeah.
So I have avoided my anger most of my life because I'm afraid of how people will either perceive it or how I'll make people feel. So very rarely, I don't know if you've known me for a long time, but can you think of a time where I've really been like lash out anger? I don't really do that often if I do it at all, but I do feel anger and I don't know how to. I always push it down, and so
Okay.
I don't know how to deal with it in a healthy way, and yet I won't lash out. So I just let it simmer deep inside me, and it's poisoning me. There's so much like frustration and anger, and when I go to therapy, you're like, you're angry about this. I'm like, yeah. I am angry. I guess sometimes in therapy I'll let that anger go.
Okay. Sometimes, though, rather than lashing out, do you find that you withdraw or isolate?
Oh, absolutely.
So the quote lash out may be just pushing or running away from others.
Yes. And then I will. You've seen this. I've lashed out at myself.
Yes. Oh,
You know?
yes. And look at what is happening to men today, where there. God help him. Is the lineman from the Dallas Cowboys who just killed himself, and there's a current player. He took his own life after being chased by the police.
Oh wow!
This week, Nealand was his last name, and there's been like some talk around the epidemic of young men committing suicide in the United States.
I get that. I mean, I get it. I look. I have responsibilities that will prevent me from taking those steps, but I've dabbled in the ideas and stuff like that, and certainly played the scenario like the world would be better without me, or whatever I'm offering the world. They don't seem to be wanting that shit.
Yeah.
And that maybe it would be easier than feeling this long ache.
Yes.
Than to be gone. So I mean, I get that. I'm lucky enough that I have some grounding things that will keep me here.
Yes.
You know? But like it's definitely a I don't know if it's mental illness. I mean, it could be.
In a sense, it could be a mental or an emotional illness.
But it's definitely I've been good for a while, but like there are times where I have casual thoughts about it.
Okay.
And what I mean by casual is like it's a conversation that doesn't have like urgency or anger or anything like that, but it is I don't know if it's ideation of it, because I never like plan or think about how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like sit with the thought of like I could be gone. I should be gone. I don't need to be here anymore. You know, but
Okay.
in a very like casual way.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we're I don't know if I've struggled. I guess I've struggled with masculinity,
Okay.
especially being a big guy. I don't feel of myself like very, very strong
Okay.
or anything like that. I mean, I do feel very protective, but I also don't believe in violence. I don't lean towards violence.
Sure.
At least as myself, I'll definitely enjoy an action film. I used to like UFC a lot, that type of stuff. So I guess there is some of this masculinity in me. But the toxic masculinity has always been something that's kept me even further away, because I always want to honor women. I always want to think of women as the divine feminine, whatever the fuck that means.
Okay.
But like that they should be honored, and they have as much value, and they're as smarter than men. Most of my close friends are women too.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that I rely on when I need clarity on something like that.
Yes.
I mean, you and Tim and Grady are my closest male friends, I would think.
Okay.
And then there's a slew of women that I rely on in my life,
Yeah.
in order to bounce whatever it is. I mean, some of them are masculine, but still, it's, I don't know. I'm just fucking rambling here for a second. You were gonna say
I
something
think it's great. I shook my finger at something that you said, and now I don't remember what it is. Isn't that amazing?
Not really.
You
It's
really
just the age.
you struck it. Oh, when you spoke of the divine feminine, is I hear that term far more often, and far less often the divine masculine.
Okay.
And you were also speaking about the protector, and what is what is defining of a protector? Is it someone who has aggression? Is it someone who has a call to arms to physically or verbally defend what is quote unquote theirs, and really what exactly is ours anyway? And celebrating women, all of those things really made me think of who says that a protector. Why is it that when we hear protector, we think of someone who is defending through combat,
Right.
Figurative or literal, rather than someone who really is just standing guard.
Right. Like Lily Potter, who stood in front of Voldemort and protected Harry with love.
Or the person who stood in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square.
Right. That's probably more poetic than my use of Harry Potter.
There is a samurai teaching of do you have the wisdom to show your sword and know you don't have to use it, and know that you shouldn't use it.
Yeah.
And that is a real definition of protector, is the one who only needs to show his sword. The celebration of women. I believe that someone who is of strong masculinity is one who's able to celebrate all those who are around them, one who's able to hold space and protect space for others to be able to step into and show their power, or have their moment in the sun, be able to see their own gold or glory. Those are things that I think are really, really important.
You went far away from where we live to gather those things. I just feel like us as a country, especially right now, I mean, it's so weird. We haven't elected a female president, right?
Still.
So many countries have had prime ministers or presidents that were feminine. I mean, we have chosen. Yeah, I don't care if we go political. If you want to turn the channel, then turn the channel. I don't give a fuck. Seriously, like, the truth is the truth. You want to fucking hide from it? Hide from it.
Oh my goodness.
But we elected the worst human being ever over two qualified women because we didn't like their laugh, because we thought one was a know-it-all or too ambitious. Has anybody run for president not been too ambitious? I mean, they're all ambitious. I just watched this fucking thing, which I highly recommend, Death by Lightning, which is the story of James A. Garfield and his assassin, Charles. I can't remember his fucking
We're
name.
terrible with
Good.
names, by
Because-
the way. In our hour and a half
at the
talk, we
end-
kept forgetting names.
At the end, his wife says, like, no one's going to remember you.
Yes.
I'm going to make sure that nobody remembers you. So it's kind of poetic justice that I don't remember his actual name. So fuck him. But brilliantly played by Matthew McFadden. It's so interesting because he makes this speech at the Republican convention, because back then the Republicans were the good guys, And he makes this speech, and everybody's like, okay. And slowly they don't have anybody who wins the nomination. And so they start to vote for him.
Yeah.
They start to vote
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't have any ambition. I didn't want to do this. But like, he knew it. And his wife calls him out on it. Like,
Yeah.
you did. Why'd you make that speech in Chicago? You made that speech in Chicago because you have ambition.
Yeah.
Turns out that I'm going to have to read the book that this thing is based on because it's so fucking interesting. It's only 4 episodes. It's Michael Shannon as Garfield.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's so good, and learned so much about Chester A. Arthur that I never knew before.
We need to know things about Chester A. Arthur?
Yeah, well, he's played by
apparently.
Nick
I don't know
Offerman,
anything
so,
about
so
him.
you're going to listen to it.
Okay.
Really, really like interesting stuff, but like we don't even know what he could be because he was shot like 3 months into his presidency.
Shortest presidency, I think. Oh no, McKinley was. McKinley had the shortest presidency.
But anyway, so we chose a criminal. You know.
Well, okay. Funny that you mentioned that movie because last night I watched Apprentice.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. Wait, and you want to see a tour de force of Jeremy Strong? Watch Apprentice as Roy Cohn, who may be the very model of toxic masculinity, and
just hiding.
was one of Donald Trump's mentors. And here was a man who completely hid his real life, all in the name of being strong and putting and being powerful. Who it was all about domination.
Yeah, and just the appearance of it.
Yes, it was
more than
all
any
about
of it.
appearances.
Sebastian Stan ain't bad in that movie either.
Oh,
That's
Sebastian
pretty
Stan is fucking awesome in this movie.
It's hard to
and
watch.
the slow transformation into what we know today. Yet it and unfortunately, here is the very persona of toxic masculinity in what is viewed as the most powerful position in the world. It's arguable. A man who takes no responsibility for the negative impact that he has, or takes no responsibility for anything negative that happens.
Will never admit to being wrong about anything.
Never admit to being wrong. Will always push a narrative of winning. Who is a bully to show strength and dominance, and must always come out on top, especially when it comes to women. Especially when it comes to women.
Well, how did he, when he started making, look, he was always in the fucking New York, whatever, ether and stuff like that.
Yes.
But like when he got into a fight, whether it was guns or I forgot what it was, with Rosie O'Donnell the first time around, and the way that he attacked her, calling her a pig and going after her appearance, and
yes.
all, like these are the first things out of his mouth.
Yes, and
obviously,
no holds barred.
No, I'm going to cut you, and I'm going to cut you deep.
Yes.
It's
and where would that have come from? How is his relationship with his father?
Yeah, for sure. I'm
not to let a man off the hook.
No, you're definitely not. But like we know that there's an origin for stuff like this. What
Absolutely.
surprises me, what shocks me about the whole thing, is that I know we have our troubles as Americans, and we are a great idea, but not always a great execution. I'm just shocked that we got bullied by, like the country as a whole got bullied by a shitty con man, not even a good con man, not Jim Dale in Pete's Dragon con man, where he's selling that elixir to Passamaquoddy. I mean, that guy had style, and there was a show going on. This guy is a shitty salesman. He's a shitty salesman who bankrupted a casino, which I don't understand how it happens, but two casinos he bankrupted. I don't know how that happens, but America has been bullied by this guy. I don't understand that. And yes, I do understand it, I guess.
He and others saw the exact place where the bullying could happen. And there are those who believe he is a good salesman, and whatever it is that he's selling for his persona, that wonderful gilded mansion down in Florida, and the wonderful gilded apartments that are in that building in the middle of Midtown Manhattan where the Vanderbilt Mansion used to be. They buy it, and they believe it's true, and they don't see and don't want to look at the casinos that were bankrupted, the unions that got screwed.
The college that was a fraud.
All of
The fact that he doesn't pay his contractors. How do people in middle America, working class, blue collar workers, how do they accept the idea that he doesn't pay his contractors?
Because that truth gets buried. There was not one mention of it, even in 2016. And I pay very close attention to that because that's one thing that I just find is deplorable. Because it was a matter of evading responsibility. He takes no personal responsibility because it was all on the Trump, the whatever the company is, Trump. I want to call it the foundation, but maybe that's right.
You can tell by the way he talks that he's never bought groceries in his life.
Oh my God, yeah.
They bring it up on Seth Meyers all the time. Like he doesn't he thinks you have to show ID. Well, you should show ID to vote because you have to show it at the grocery store. Because how do working class people, how do they buy this? I just don't understand it. I think it's probably because he talks like an idiot.
Maybe.
He doesn't talk like he's rich, or if only he had an English accent, then people would think he's much classier.
It's very posh. Anyone with an English accent is posh. I'm
right,
talking an English accent right now. I must sound posh.
It's crazy to me, but it has to do with what we're talking about.
It very much does, and I believe that United States as a society now is seeing that trickle down. And we've heard about some really terrible behavior amongst young Republican men. And so much of it is a mirror of what is being shown to them. This is what they're getting.
They're freely accepting Nazism right now and discussing it.
I'll go on the flip side, too, is that there's also some toxicity in the other way that is going counter to what we're seeing.
Okay.
There's always going to be a balance. It isn't just about those who have very conservative men having behaving badly. There also are some really liberal men who are behaving badly, so that it kind of fights the two.
So what, like an example of what that is?
I knew you were going to ask for this. As I was talking, I was trying to think of a good example.
Do you mean like people are overreacting to being offended by shit?
So here's one way, and people can play semantics with me. They're welcome to do that.
I will.
And this has been a criticism of the left, is that those in the left have constantly tried to seek a high road in dealing with what's coming from the right. So it's almost like a holier than thou sort of attitude.
Absolutely.
We're not going to stoop to your level.
They also make choices based upon like consultant and that type of bullshit.
They're also there's too much emphasis on being right, especially when it comes to societal dictation.
Yes.
So here we have what I like to call hyper wokeness. Being woke's not a bad thing. Hyper woke takes it to an next level, where part of something that I believe is that there's no such thing as being more right. You can be right,
but you can't be more right.
And yet, when trying to drive that point home, like the constant hammering of it, that isn't necessarily right either.
No.
So now, what do we wind up seeing? We wind up seeing Mamdani.
Yes.
Who now, of course, is causing this great stir in New York City. In listening to Mamdani, though, I'm really compelled by him, because he is a man who was willing to really take it to someone like Andrew Cuomo, who, although is on the left of things, is certainly more right, and of course had the endorsement of DJT.
Yeah, but also fucking was kicked out of the governor's mansion for scandal.
Yes, the man certainly confronted that. Rather than trying to take some kind of a high road, he went right into it. And he did it in a very good way in those debates. And he also shut up and took the criticism that came at him from Andrew Cuomo, which I thought was...
Oh, you're talking about Mamdani.
Mamdani.
Yeah.
He took the criticism from Cuomo, and I thought that was a great sign of maturity.
I know that my Jewish brethren are not happy, and they think that he's anti-Semitic, but I haven't experienced, every time I hear him talk about what he his problems with the religious state, it feels like he has a problem with the religious state in general and not just Israel. If it was any state that was founded in terms of like being religious, that would be a problem. I get that it's hard as a Jewish American not to support Israel out and out because we have been chased out of every country that we've ever been in, and it's the first time that the world has kind of come together to give us a place. But I also know that I don't, and I'm not fucking going out on a limb here, think that Netanyahu and his bullshit should be supported by the United States. But that's not the Israeli people to me, or the idea of Israel. That's the fucking government. Like my government right now and all of the ICE raids and stuff like that, I don't approve of that.
No,
Does that mean that I should leave the country because I'm critical of my government and the choices that they're making? No, I mean, that's supposed to be my right as an American. And so I see the difference between the Israeli government and the Israeli people. The idea of Israel is very, very different. Maybe I'm being ignorant. Maybe I'm missing something about Mamdani, but like the people chose him. People who are smart support him that I see. And so I haven't heard anything that I disagree with, but I get that there are people upset by it. I just don't, I don't think I fully understand it. But like, here's the my bigger point though. Like until the Democratic Party starts to support people like Mamdani, which is the people's choice, and gets rid of the older people who just don't seem to know what the fuck they're doing anymore, or do everything based upon the idea of you know, they take a poll and the polling says this, and they follow the polling and they listen to consultants, and they don't fucking get a backbone and stand by what they want. Also, Mamdani had like one message and he was stuck on point no matter what it was. Like he's stuck on point in a way that other people just haven't. Then we'll stop arguing amongst ourselves and we'll become like one party again. The Democratic Party is totally and completely flawed in so many different ways.
They both are.
But I don't think it's an equal equivalency though.
No.
Because when people's trying to get people health care, like you don't have to like Obama and Obamacare, but like what was it? I'm trying to get people health care.
Attempt.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make richer people richer. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to deregulate all of the global warming initiatives and stuff like that, and companies that put harm into our environment.
I have a sense we've just gone down a rabbit hole now.
Well, because at the core, it's toxic.
It is toxic,
right?
Yes,
you know, the government right now is coming from a place of toxicity, of masculine toxicity.
Very much.
Toxic
masculinity.
That's what I meant to say.
Yes, toxicity.
You know, when you can't admit that you're wrong and that you can learn, because nobody is always right.
No.
Like, I can't believe people buy that bullshit. If you have somebody in your life who's like, I'm never wrong about anything and always pretends to be right, you stop hanging out with them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you stop talking to them. If they work with you at lunch, you don't sit with them when they're having lunch. You don't go near them. And that's this motherfucker all the time. It's like he's always right. He's always lying. It doesn't matter what the truth is. And people just eat it up. That's so fucking toxic.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, thank you for listening to the last
take a
breath. So what do we do? What do we do? I guess you have to cut it off at every point in your life. You know, in my classroom, I try to take that toxic masculinity. Why can't I say it? I'm having a stroke. Out of everything. You know, the way that men talk to women, it's so infuriating. Why there's this feeling of superiority in any way because you're physically stronger is beyond something my brain is willing to like listen to. I just can't listen to it. So I try to stop it at every chance I can with kids. But I don't know how effective I'm being. I don't know that those lessons will stay past the classroom.
I genuinely believe that all we can do are whatever small acts consistently that are true to ourselves, that we believe are good masculine traits, and share them however we can. Those who are paying attention may learn something, and there may be those who don't pay attention. Or judge them to be whatever, you know, whatever they think that they're going to be. But it's only going to be the small examples that you and I and any individual can give on a consistent basis. Whether in hard times or in good times, and that in itself, I think, is a really healthy and mature way to live. Is to understand that whatever difference that we're going to make may be small, but it's going to be the ripple effect that happens afterwards. It's going to have the greater impact.
It's doing this and teaching my kids to be better.
Yes.
And helping that they take that out into the world.
And we don't do it alone.
Right.
I know whatever little bits and pieces that I've learned about masculinity, or whatever it is that I may believe is true of me and I may show to the world, was shown to me by others. Hearing things that other people may have seen in me until I was willing to look at it and accept it as being, something that's good and serving me, or something that isn't serving me and I needed to let go of. That I think that I am a good man because of that. A good man 51% of the time. The other 49% of the time, an ignorant prick.
But not an unaware.
But I couldn't have done that alone.
Yeah.
When you and I sit and talk for an hour and a half, there's an awful lot that I know that I'm taking away from it that I believe is going to help me to be a better person.
I should be listening better during those talks.
If you want,
pull stuff away too.
So here's a great question that I always love to ask people: Are you listening to understand, or are you listening to hear when it's your time to talk?
I mean, for a lot of people, it's the latter.
Yeah,
they're
and I'm
looking
guilty
for
of
what
that
they want
often
to.
too.
And I do it sometimes too. I'm like, I hear something and I have an idea, and then if I don't keep it in my head, I'm going to lose it. But then you got to, like improv, you just got to fucking lose it and go on to whatever the next thing is. 'Cause
yes,
another idea will happen. The other thing that I was thinking about is the idea of incel. What is the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Not community, but like culture, incel culture. Things that like the show Adolescence. Did you watch Adolescence?
No, and
It's
I'm not
hard.
even familiar
It's hard.
with that term, incel.
Like incelibates, like the Andrew Tates of the world that like they promote masculine culture and women are to blame. Incel is an celibate person, someone who chooses to be they're not choosing to be celibate.
Yeah.
But women just dislike them and you should hate women for disliking men when they have a role in society and how this voice has gotten so much louder in a internet world where anonymity is like at the core. You can the insults, the misogynistic insults that come to women on the internet from
now I remember
from anonymous people, and all of this gives strength, or whatever faux strength it is, to these idiots. Like
that's I remember having a conversation about that years ago with my good friend John, and literally it was like over a men's weekend, and we did talk about that. And I have not thought about it since.
Good for you, because it's like,
it outraged me.
Because it's so in the culture, and I'll see certain things and you read posts that people responding to women about something, or you see a video about where they show the comments that men make to their videos.
Oh, yeah, on Instagram I see that kind of crap, and it's just mind-blowing.
So we just have to get rid of the internet for everything except for what? What does the internet, to order food?
Pictures of food and pets.
And pets, that's
all
you're
it's
allowed
really
to?
good for.
That's the way that we could solve it.
Please flood the internet with pictures of your cute puppies.
I do like looking at cute girls. I can't help it.
Yes.
But I've never written anything mean.
Neither have I.
I don't think I've ever called a woman a whore ever. Like, to me, that makes zero sense in any way. And that's like a light thing that sometimes these women have to put up with.
I would love to be able to say that. However, I
had a girl
defer to the limitations of my memory.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that awful?
So it could have happened, but we don't know.
Okay. So then herein again is the is also that understanding, men understanding where our place is in the world.
Right.
And that we're only one small part. however, there's always going to be that balance. There's always going to be man and woman.
Right. Which is nice. I like that.
And I'm only speaking, excuse me, of when I say that, I mean there's always going to be masculine and feminine in this world.
Right.
And an individual may occupy both of those places.
Yes.
in separate times and also at the same time. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely.
So, they're going to be in that in balance, and hopefully there will be balance. And yet, I'm a person who has no balance a vast majority of my life, and I'm swinging one direction or another.
Right.
And there are going to be those times that I'm in that super masculine spot and bordering and maybe crossing over the line in toxicity, and have done that in the past. And that's where I may make that mistake. The mature part of me, though, I hope will be able to see and own that mistake, and be able to and own it,
right, admit it,
and then step back into a better place of being in mature masculinity, or hopefully in a good place of being in balance in both feminine and masculine qualities, because I believe they exist in all people.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And I don't think we're saying that it's wrong to feel masculine or to be masculine, but that when and if we swing into that toxic masculinity, we have to be accountable for that. We have to own it and hopefully grow.
Yes.
And learn that that's not okay.
Yes.
And to always honor the feminine in us. If we honor the feminine in us, we'll be able to honor the feminine in
others.
Yeah.
And in that same way, honor the masculinity in us and be able to honor the masculinity in others.
Yeah, for sure. This has really been an interesting talk that mostly was about masculinity and then got into politics for a little bit.
Yes.
But I don't fucking care. It's my podcast.
It is
Patrick.
your podcast.
I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Hey,
and
I'm still
maybe I'm tired
here.
of being quiet, and maybe I'm angry.
There may be some people who aren't there anymore out there, but
yes,
we're
cares?
still here.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh, hey now.
Don't need you. Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The people,
they didn't hear
the people
that.
who are still here probably don't care.
Was that you lashing out in anger?
That could have been. That could have been my little.
Oh.
I don't know. I do think I avoid the masculine parts of myself often enough because I'm hyper aware of toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to play on the border of that. But also I am probably denying myself some of the natural places in which I should be able to be in. I always want to be thought of as an ally, and so I make sure that I don't even come close to that dancing on things. But if you're at a pool party and people start taking their tops off and stuff like that, you don't have to avert your eyes the whole time. You could take a peek because everybody's taking their shirts off on purpose. You know what I'm saying, Patrick?
I do know what you're saying.
Oh, so
I know I'm laughing, but I know what you're saying.
So, yeah, I hope to be able to do better balancing of that. Because you can't always just be one. That's what I want to say, boys. You can't always be just one. So find that balance between the feminine and masculine in yourself, and it's in women too. There's plenty of beautiful masculine things that women do.
Yes. Yes.
As well, and so it's a human thing and not like a gender thing.
Yes.
So, Patrick, thank you for coming over.
It was a joy to be here.
And we will talk to you guys again.
Peace.
Next week. We're going to soon, people. I'm not joking. We're going to do a Dungeons and Dragons episode. And Sawyer's going to be the DM. You guys are going to love it. And I don't know who's going to make the cut. But we're going to have a D&D episode very soon. Is that masculine? No, it's masculine and feminine.
That is masculine and feminine.
Yes,
right there.
that's the perfect tribute for what we're saying today.
Yes.
All right. See ya.
Later.
So that was our episode. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. We went a lot of different ways. I got a little loud about stuff, but that's just who I am and what you have signed up for. You don't have to agree with me, and you certainly, Patrick and I, afterwards were like, we're no experts. We're certainly no experts. So if you disagree, that's perfectly legitimate, and we understand. And you should probably reach out to us on one of our platforms. You can DM me on thelastwillpodcast.com, or you can reach me at Matt Young at thelastwillpodcast.com. Either way, but yeah, we're no experts. We don't claim to be experts, so we like to entertain you and give our opinions. That's really just our opinions. But I guess some of the things I was right about. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for listening to the Last Will Podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, subscribe. That can be very, very helpful to us. And until next week, onward, forward.